Hi everybody, this is Diane. I'm going to do a viewer request video. I had shown yesterday, I think it was, the pages that I pieced together to make them large enough for the Halloween journals. And one of my viewers said that she was hoping to see a video, find a video that I had done on it. So I'm just going to do one now. And I'm going to do it with the way I did it for this journal. And then also I'm just going to do a repeat of a video I had done quite a while ago, and I think I actually deleted that video because there was something wrong with the quality. And that is using smaller pieces to make big pieces of paper. With this one I'm using 12 by 12. So I have my drawer of papers here. I'm just going to take some random papers. I'll use this one, they're pretty bright. So I'm going to cut them down to, well, I don't have a book in mind, so I don't know how tall I need them to be, but I'm just going to cut it down to 9 inches. I think that's what I had yesterday. So they're 9 inches high. So then I have black thread in because I'm making Halloween journals, and I'm just going to leave that black thread in. I'm just going to take my two papers and I'm just going to line them up as straight as I can. Sometimes they're not 100% straight by the time I'm done, but these are junk journals. I don't want to go too far in. And I like to do it with zigzag. So I'm just going to, I've got them overlapped about 1/4 of an inch. You can do it as much as you want to, but I don't want it to be too flappy. So I'm just going to start sewing. You can do a couple things with this. I needed my papers to be about 14 inches wide so that I could fold them and have 7 inches wide on each part of the folio. So you could cut it to 14 inches, which is what I did, or you could fold it and then turn these under and have flaps or pockets. But I'm going to do what I did yesterday, since that's what my viewer requested. So I have my paper trimmer here. It might be a little tricky to do right here with my sewing machine, but I'm going to cut it at 14 inches. So it's 12-inch paper, and there's a little bit of an overlap, so there's not going to be much of this tie-dyed paper here left. So on this side of the paper, it just looks like striped paper, but when you get to this side, you get that extra bit on there. So then I took this, and this looks like it's already cut down to 9. And it's still, let me see if it's still 12 inches. Yes, it is. So I'll just use this one. And I'm going to flip it this way because that way I'll have the smaller paper to try to fit underneath my sewing machine. And I'll just sew this one together. So now I'm going to cut it at 14 inches, keeping all of this and cutting off part of this. If I can put it in the paper trimmer right, I'll do it. So then I have that paper. And I think you get the gist of it. I would sew this to another paper and cut it at 14 inches. So I can use these in future larger journals. And now I'm going to, this basket is full anyway. This drawer is full of my cutoffs when I cut my papers down to put them in journals. So sometimes I just start grabbing papers out of here and sewing them together. So that's what I'm going to do right now. And I will make them quite long, and then when I know what kind of a journal I want to put them in, I like to put them in the larger journals, like a domestic arts journal or a glue book or something. Then I can cut them down to the size I want. So I do it just the same way. You can use straight stitch, you can use any fancy stitch you want, as long as it's not going to perforate your paper too much. So it's done just the same way, but it's going to take more pieces of paper, obviously, because the papers are smaller. I left that hole there. So I'm going to sew it like that, and that'll just add a little interest to whatever journal it gets put into. Now this is flappy right here because I overlapped it more so that this hole would be filled in. So when I actually go to put this in the journal, I would probably do something with that. I would probably sew that down. But today I'm not going to worry about it. And I have different widths, different weights of paper. This is a lightweight one. This is a different length, and I could use that too. Let's see. I could use that and actually sew another piece down here, or just let this be shorter. I'm just going to move this out of the way and just keep grabbing papers out of it. Some people call this Franken paper. I've been doing this, I was doing this before it got that cute name. I just call it patchwork paper, but whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing. I'm not sure if Nick does something different. Does she have a base foundation that she sews her pieces onto? I don't know. So I'm just grabbing scraps and sewing them together. Getting close to the end of this bobbin. So rather than have a problem with it, I'm going to switch the bobbin. My tripod is in the way of the drawer where I keep my bobbins. I've got another black one. I hope that didn't rock you too much. So you can see I have this piece that's a little smaller. I could patch it with that. I think I will this time, but it's not necessary. I'm going to tear off the white part. I was trying to do the back stitch, but my finger wasn't in the right place, so that's okay. So if I folded this would be for a pretty big journal. I think that's the biggest journal I would make. So I think I'm done. It's the size I need. So I'm going to go ahead and make another one. As you could see, my bin was pretty full, and I could make a lot of pages before I get that down to a decent amount. Got my cutter right here. I don't know why I didn't just use my cutter for this. Let's do some with a straight stitch. If you do trim these down to a different height, when you realize what book you're going to put them in, you may want to double stitch where you cut it so that the pages don't come apart. So I started out with zigzag and I went straight, but you could alternate and it would make a really cool look. Might as well just stick this in there while I'm here. Another thing you can do if you're using different sizes of paper like this and patching them, you could have a bigger overlap on this side and then maybe use it as a little tuck spot when you actually put it in a journal. And I've made them where some of the papers were double-sided and some were not. So the whole front side had a pattern, and on the back side, some of these would have pattern and some wouldn't. That made it more interesting too. Not quite as wide as that one. Probably wide enough, but I'm going to tack one more strip on. And of course, if you go to put it in your book and it's not wide enough, you can always just add another piece then. So there you have it. I've done 2 patchwork pages and 2 with the larger pieces. So I'm going to stop the video here, but since I'm here started and I've got this whole bin full of paper scraps, I'm just going to keep going and make several more pages before I'm done. But I will see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.